looking for three.
Taylor's gonna finish it!
Watford for the win!
Yes!
Oh, y'all think that I'm trash, but I'm compost. Put me on the ground, but that's where I grow. Every time I'm high, it's from being low.
What's going on, world? Michael Beasley here, coming to you from the Sports Corner. Pacers Draft Lottery Special. Oh, yeah. Before I jump into the special, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment. And shout out to the 3 new subscribers out there from last episode. Kudos. Jay, and I don't know the other 2. It don't tell me the other 2. But shout out to y'all. Y'all are real MVPs out there. But so today, we haven't really talked about much Pacers in the last couple weeks. Probably like in the last month, really. I mean, it's kind of been dead. I mean, the NBA playoffs is going on. The Pacers, I mean, they were tanking. You know what I mean? Pacers were tanking for a reason. For the reason of the lottery. We wanted a fucking chance for a top 5 pick. Well, if you're from Indiana, if you're an Indiana fan of any team in Indiana, you know that nothing ever really works out the way we want it to work out. So the Pacers got the 6th pick in the draft. Before I jump into all that bullshit, let's talk about some quick Pacers draft FAQs real quick. So understand this about the Pacers. Pacers are literally one of 6 teams to never receive a number 1 draft pick. The Magic, however, since 1989, have had 4 number 1 draft picks. Must be nice. Most recently, it would have been Shaq and Dwight Howard. Granted, Dwight Howard didn't amount to shit later in his career, but early in his career, he did take the Magic to an NBA Finals. Also, the 6th pick in the draft for the Pacers is the 2nd highest pick the Pacers have ever had since 1988. And that's when Rick Smits was drafted at number 2. So yeah, so the odds didn't really work out in our favor. I mean, the Kings, however, it worked out for. These motherfuckers went from number 7 and jumped up to number 4, pushing the Blazers out of the top 5. Petty, I know, we could have fallen as well. So I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. Glass half full, glass half empty. Number 6 pick in the draft. Number 6 is Lance Stephenson's number. You know what I mean? Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know. Maybe he was drafted at number 6. Take a look at that. I don't know. I don't know when he was drafted. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something that makes this good. Larry Bird was drafted at number 6. But I will tell y'all this. Not to panic. I got the player cards for the players that will be available when it happens. But before I do that, let's look at who picks before the Pacers. You got drafting at number 1, the Magic. Drafting at number 2 would be the Thunder. Drafting at number 3, the Rockets. Drafting at number 4, the Kings, who I said, like I told y'all, they jumped the lottery. Basically what happened was the Kings want to win. They suck. So they're probably throwing money under the table to get more balls in there than they're supposed to. Or to make that machine blow in their way. I'm telling y'all, that machine's fucking rigged sometimes. It really is rigged. I'm just saying, the Kings are the most losing franchise in the last 20 years. Literally. Google it. They are the worst franchise in the last 20 years. It's sad. It's really sad. The place to die used to be the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks ain't the place to die no more. It's the Sacramento Kings. And then you got the Pistons at number 5. And the Pistons, I mean, that's all they got is fucking young bucks. That's literally all they're drafting. So looking at it, the Pacers have their choice. This is who's going to be available for them. Because the number 1 pick, the number 2 pick, and the number 3 pick is going to be between Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero. The thing is about Holmgren, he's one of them slinky-ass white boys who ain't got no feet. He ain't going to pan out in the NBA. If you draft him in the top 3, he's going to fucking be a bum. I'm just telling y'all, he ain't going to work in the NBA. He's too small. He's just too small. He's one of those great college players that's game is not going to transfer to the NBA. He's just too fucking small. Then you got Jabari Smith. He's one of those, he's tall, he's lengthy, he can shoot, he's got athleticism. He can probably be an impact player for a team like the Kings. You know what I mean? He could help the Kings out a lot. They do need a guard. And then you got Paolo Banchero, who wherever that man goes, the Pistons don't need him because they got Cade Cunningham. So I could see Banchero going at number 3 or 2 or 1. Anywhere in there. Those are going to be the top 3 picks. The NBA mock drafts, it's not like the NFL. They don't stray away from the top 3 picks ever since that fucking Anthony Johnson pick from the Cavs and Kwame Brown from the Wizards. Motherfuckers don't stray away from who is projected in the top 3. It just doesn't happen often. It really doesn't. If they're going to be a top 3 pick, they're going to be a top 3 pick. It's just how it is. So the Pacers are at that 6th spot, so they're going to have 4 different players to choose from that are those primetime players. So let's check out these primetime players. So first up, you got Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, college career, played 66 games, averaged 15.8 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Last year, he played in 35 games. 23.5 points a game, 8.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He shot 55.4% from the field, 39.8% from three-pointer, with a 61.4% effective field goal percentage. Also, he had 5 30-point games where he dropped 35, 35, 37, 32, and 30. He had 21 games with 20-plus points and 7 double-digit games. And I'm always going to point out the worst game. The worst game he had was 9 points, 7 rebounds against Iowa State, and he went 4 for 17. And he came back after that game with a 35-point performance. So the man is resilient. He has resolve. Next up, you got Jaden Ivey from Purdue. He is from South Bend, Indiana. He would be an Indiana-grown boy. He would be an Indiana-grown man. Jaden Ivey's college career, 59 games, 14.9 points, 4.3 rebounds, 2.6 assists. Last season, he played 36 games. He averaged 17.3 points, 4.9 rebounds, 3.1 assists. With a 46% field goal percentage, 35.8 three-point field goal percentage, and a 53.3% effective field goal percentage. He had no 30-point games. He had 15 20-point games and 20 games in double figures. His worst game of the season was actually the last game of the season when they got beat by St. Peter's, where he only had 9 points and 6 turnovers. And he went 4 for 12 from the field. So he had a really rough outing in his last game at bat. But Jaden Ivey is probably the most elite player out of these 4. But Keegan Murray, on the other hand, he might be that guy to take. But like I said, he might get picked up, though, by the Pistons at that number 5 spot, or the Kings at that number 4 spot. Then you got Benedict Mathurin. So the Pacers brought him in earlier this week. They're pretty high on him, actually. So his college career, he played in 63 games, averaged 14.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 2 assists a game. Last season, he played in 37 games, averaged 17.7 points, 5.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, with a 45% field goal percentage, 36.9% three-point percentage, and a 53.6% effective field goal percentage. He is a 6'7" guard, so he's got nice size. However, his points last year, he had 2 30-point games where he dropped 30 2 different times. He had 20 games in double digits, 13 20-point games. However, he did have, 4 games under double digits. His worst game was 6 points, 4 turnovers, going 2 for 7. I noticed there during the season, he did have those moments where he kind of fell off. He'd have those streaky games. So he'd have like 4 games with 20 plus points, and then he'd have 2 or 3 games with 8, 6, and then 15. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't consistent. So that's what you kind of got to look at with Mathurin is he going to be able to adjust to the NBA game? Because whoever the Pacers drafted in at the number 6 spot, they need to come in and be an impact player. And the last player that they're speaking about is Shaedon Sharpe. So Shaedon Sharpe, there's not a lot of stats about this man. He's Canadian. He played in, he was recruited by Kentucky. He was the first number 1 recruit by Kentucky since Nerlens Noel. However, he never played a game for Kentucky. He sat out all of last season. So there's not much stats about this man. All we got is AAU stats where in 2021, he averaged 22.6 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, 2.7 assists. So, yeah, I mean, you're basically rolling the dice on this guy. Hit or miss. I mean, this is like drafting a high school player. I mean, it's hit or miss. Things work out sometimes they don't. Pacers have drafted high school players before. They drafted Al Harrington. Al Harrington had a great career. He was a career player. He went to he played for the Pacers, and then he went to Golden State, did his thing there. Hell, and then he was a journeyman, I believe. He went to a lot of different teams and did his thing. But he ultimately, I mean, he played in Golden State, and he had a big impact in Golden State as well. Al Harrington was a great player out of high school that nobody really talks about, but he was. And he has his own marijuana strain. So Google that shit. I don't know the name of it, but Al Harrington has his own marijuana strain and dispensary. Shout out to Al. And he plays in the Big Three with Ice Cube. But yeah, those are the 4 players that I got on the radar for the Pacers. It could really be anybody. The Pacers have had a lot of success in the draft. And, I mean, I'll pull up some notable draft picks that the Pacers have had. I mean, they drafted Reggie in 87. And since they drafted Reggie in 87, in 88, they drafted Rick Smits at number 2. 89, George McLeod at number 7. The Davis brothers in 90 and 91. Hell, they drafted Antonio Davis number 45 spot. Drafted Dale Davis at the number 13 spot. And then in 94, they drafted Damon Bailey in round 2 at number 44. Granted, he never really amounted to nothing, but he was an Indiana great. He was much loved by the Pacers. In 95, they drafted Travis Best and Fred Hoiberg. Drafted Travis Best in round 1 at number 23. Hoiberg at number 52. I had a Travis Best jersey. I love Travis Best. Drafted Eric Dampier in 96 at number 10. Austin Crocier in 97 at number 12. Austin Crocier was part of that final squad. 98, they drafted Al Harrington. I mentioned that before. He was out of high school at number 25. And then in 02, they drafted Fred Jones. Fred Jones at number 14. He was basically when the slam dunk contest started falling off. He won that slam dunk contest, and it was never good again. And then you got James Jones. Number 49, James Jones is the executive of the Phoenix Suns. He played for the Heat as well, won some titles there after the fact. When the Pacers drafted him, they drafted him in the mindset that he was the next Reggie Miller, basically. And then in 05, we drafted Danny Granger. I love Danny Granger. He was one of my favorite players that the Pacers had. He won Most Improved Player in 09. I'll never forget that because it was when I was at basic training. Yeah, but they drafted him at number 17. And then they drafted Paul George and Lance Stevenson in the same season. Drafted Paul at number 10, Lance at number 40. When they drafted Lance, there's a lot of questions about him. He had a lot of issues coming out of high school and out of college. He had some issues with women and pushing people down the stairs. I won't talk anymore about that one. Number 11, then you got Kawhi Leonard and Davis Bertans. You'll notice that both of these players are still relevant today. We drafted them in 2011 and traded them to the Spurs for George Hill. I wish we could have had that one back, right? And then in 2015, we drafted Miles Turner at number 11. I mean, how you look at it, Miles is a great defender. He gets up, he blocks shots, he doesn't rebound a lot. He can hit the 3 from time to time. He can hit the jumper, but, I mean, he doesn't play enough games, and I'm starting to get fucking over it. I'll talk more about that, though, here shortly. And then in 2021, we got second team all-rookie. It was announced today, Chris Duarte. We drafted him at number 13. So, I mean, it's however you want to spin it, however you want to look at it. The Pacers have done a great job in general of normally drafting a good core nucleus. However, not in the past 10 years. It's kind of sucked. It's kind of fallen off. But in 2021, We got Duarte, and then we got Halliburton in the trade, and he's kind of like getting a second-year, third-year player. You know what I mean? Next up, I just want to talk about some Pacers news real quick. So, first news story, it's a TJ Warren subject. I just got to talk briefly about this. So, he's going to be a free agent. I think the Pacers should at least think about re-signing him just to see what he's got in the tank. If he ain't got nothing left, if he sucks, then cut his ass by halfway mid this season next year, or trade him by mid-season next year. I really think they should think about it. Plus, they're going to have some leverage because I heard the Bucks like him, so they could be able to trade him to the Bucks and get some players out of that. You know what I mean? But TJ Warren, I mean, when he was playing in the bubble, that's the last time we saw him, he was going off. He did his fucking thing. So, I mean, I like TJ Warren. I'm a fan. He just needs to get fucking healthy. I'm over him not playing. It's kind of like the Miles Turner situation, which that leads me into my second subject on Miles Turner. So there's a lot of different trades out there. You got the Mavs talking about trading for Miles. You got the Raptors talking about trading for Miles. You got so many different teams in the mix for that are interested in Miles. And at this point, I'm kind of sold on trading Miles and getting something in return for him. Because he, like I said, he doesn't play enough. He averages fucking what, like maybe 30 to 40 games a year. That's half a fucking season, man. It's not cutting it. That's why he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year. That's why he's not in on the defensive teams, first team, second team. That's why he's not a part of that shit. The man is one of the best defenders in the league, but he doesn't play enough games. Play enough games, Miles, and I'll be sold on you. But you can't finish a season, man, it's time to go. We got rid of Jonathan Bennett because he had the same fucking problem. The man could play, he just couldn't fucking play. Get what I mean? And last news story, it has to do with Lance Stevenson. Why the fuck, Kevin Pritchard, have you not signed Lance Stevenson to a 2-year deal yet? Let Lance stay here in Indiana. This is his home. This is where it's at. This is where Lance does his fucking thing. Sign fucking Lance. I'm overwaiting. Just do it. Thank y'all for watching the episode. I hope y'all really enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment. And before I get out of here, you know I love to end things with a quote. And I really ain't got a quote, so I'm going to go off the top of my head. You win some, you lose some. But sometimes, you tie. Until next time, y'all. Peace. Go Pacers.
I'm spacewalking with my eyes closed. Yeah, I'm spacewalking with my eyes closed. Yeah.